Have you ever wanted to play as a group of scrappy rebels fighting against the tyranny of the mighty galactic empire? Maybe you just want to be a space bounty hunter or use ancient magical powers or just a weirdo robot flying through outer space. Well, let's check out Starborg, the Star Wars inspired tabletop role-playing game. I just wrapped up my 7th session of a home game of Starborg. The players, the rebels, have already taken out some space pirates, avoided an Imperial spy, discovered the Empire's plans to build a new superweapon, and now they're sneaking into a mega corporation space station to try and steal or destroy this dangerous anti-grav particle. I've had a lot of fun making Starborg with my pal Kyle from MapCrow on YouTube, and I'm having even more fun running an ongoing campaign for some pals in person. So I thought it'd be fun to show off just what makes this game so cool and easy to run. Okay, Starborg is a collection of zines. There's the Rebel Handbook for the player-facing rules, the GM Guide for some more rules and a bunch of enemies and spaceships. There's rules for solo play written by Perplexing Ruins. There's a starting adventure called the Legion's Foil. It's super easy to run one shot. And there's also these Subspace Datacron zines that add a bunch more stuff to the game. The first issue is out, and as I film this video, I've just finished writing issue number 2 and part of issue number 3. That's how psyched I am on this game and how I just can't stop making stuff for it. I want to start by talking about the rules of Starborg, but don't worry, they're easy and fun, and once you listen to this little explanation, you'll be pretty much ready to jump right in and start playing. See, most of the rules fit on the inside cover of one of the zines. So Starborg, if you haven't guessed it by the title, is based on a wonderful game called Morkborg. It's similar to other D20 TTRPGs in that something dangerous or unexplained happens, and you roll a D20, add the appropriate character stat, and usually you're trying to beat a 12, difficulty rating 12. But sometimes, let's say you have the high ground and you get to roll above a 10 instead of a 12, or sometimes you might be facing off against an elite legionary super soldier and you have to roll above a 14 to defend against them. And oh yeah, the players make all of the rolls. So when the enemy fires their blasters at the rebels, the players roll their d20, add their agility, and see if they can dodge it. Now, when I first played Morkborg, I was worried that as the GM I would miss rolling dice, but actually, I love it. It frees up some extra room in my brain to keep things moving, add more obstacles, and make the NPCs weirder and more fun at the table. Anyway, if the players fail their defense roll and they get hit, they might be able to reduce some damage with armor. There are 3 tiers. You reduce it by D2, a D4, or D6, depending on what kind of armor you have. Pretty cool. Different weapons have different damage dice, and there's like some properties like blast and bulky and shoddy that affect the weapons and stuff. You can crit and do double damage, or if you're defending and crit, you get a free attack. You can also blunder if you roll a 1 and have some extra salt rubbed in the wound. And instead of the omens in Morkborg, Starborg has destiny points. It's kind of like the Force, like the players can tap into their destiny, use a point to make a reroll or lower the damage, neutralize one of those crits or blunders. And this is really helpful for a game that can be pretty tough. You know, space is dangerous, and really these rebels are going to want to avoid situations where they have to roll a bunch of dice. But when they inevitably do get in over their heads, destiny can sometimes be on their side. I guess the biggest question, the reaction I get the most when people find out about Starborg is why Star Wars mixed with Morkborg? You know, pulpy space fantasy and the doom metal apocalypse don't quite mix. Well, I disagree. In Starborg, you play as a scrappy rebel fighting against the Legion, an overwhelming empire hell-bent on destroying the galaxy, and you're fighting against the odds. Maybe you'll make it out a hero, maybe, but more likely you're going to go out in a blaze of glory. And as a system, Morkborg is so easy to run and fun to hack, and it really gets at that overwhelming nature of this kind of battle. Just, it feels perfect. Okay, now let's talk about what kind of rebel you can expect to play in Starborg. There's the bot that has different functions like protocol or surveillance, and you also get a modification like a comm scrambler or a trash compactor torso. Bounty hunters are exactly what you would expect. They have some fun combat skills and a special heirloom weapon like a jetpack or a disintegration rifle. The Magi Knight, our version of the Jedi, has cool powers like mind muddle or blaster deflect, but every time they use their powers or ignite their blazer sword, they risk the chance of alerting a deadly dragoon enemy that are hunting them down. I'll show you those guys here in a minute. There's the smuggler who has some tricks up their sleeve like sonic grenade or vapor tooth, but they also need to deliver some contraband to a crime lord that they're indebted to before things get really, really bad. They also get a spaceship, which is pretty rad. The technician can fix bots and make improvised mechanical devices. I think this is the most creative class. I know my pal Sam, who's playing the tech in our home game, has made some crazy stuff like this device that flipped gravity on a giant alien beast and sent them flying into outer space. Then there's the youngster. Instead of getting cool abilities, the youngster gets more destiny points. Like they're more sensitive to the Force. Think Luke in A New Hope kind of vibe. And in the first issue of the Subspace Datacron zine, I designed the Princess class. They have special training that gives them advantages and a special item that they've inherited from their family, like a royal shield or an encrypted star chart. In the new issue of Subspace Datacron, coming out at the end of this month on my Patreon, I've written up the pilot class, making a total of 8 classes for the game. And the pilot is a big risk taker that gets advantages for living dangerously, and they're experts in space combat. And speaking of space combat, I think Kyle and I came up with a really cool way of making space battles more fun for the whole table. On the back of your character sheet is your spaceship with all of the crew's positions. There's the pilot, the co-pilot, the gunner, or the engineer. And each position has a few options for attacks, defensive maneuvers, and other actions like repairing shields or loading torpedoes or calculating a hyperdrive jump. And instead of the ship having its own health, the players use their health. So let's say a legionary hunter fighter shoots at the pilot station and the pilot's HP goes to 0, well then no one's steering the ship. It's a super fun and fast system. It doesn't get bogged down with positioning, but it can get really chaotic, and it has the players working together as a crew. Really proud of how this plays out at the table. Another one of my favorite things about Starborg is making enemies. In the GM guide, we've got the Legion, our version of the Empire. Of course, that includes foot soldiers and officers and warbots and even bigger war machines and the Dragoons, the evil Magi Knights like Gigas Nuldo, the Ripper, and Lord Commander Vortex, who are hunting down the Magi Knight players. My players have just alerted the Dragoon in our home game, and things are about to get crazy. It's going to be so much fun. There's also bounty hunters and space pirates. We came up with a bunch of fun crime lord stuff, crazy alien creatures. In Subspace Datacron #1, I added a bunch more Legion enemies like the Spy and the Recon Bot, and the Core World megacorporations, and the Rim World cultists, even more alien critters. And in the new Subspace Datacron #2, I'm adding even more bounty hunters and space pirates and crime lord goons like Bubbo the Suit and Pleth Boomba, who's just a guy that's covered in head-to-toe blasters. I'm just having so much fun living in this world and making stuff for this game. I'm also super proud of the starting adventure, Legion's Foil. It's a one-shot where the rebels are investigating a Legion science base on a strange moon. It's a bit of a mystery mixed with like this countdown timer. You know, they got to figure out what's going on before the Legion arrives and overruns the place. And of course, there's also a bounty hunter and some space pirates there messing things up too. I think it's a really good introduction to the game. It's easy for a first-time Starborg GM to run and gives the players opportunities to see how the game works. And if the players can discover what the Legion is up to, it's a great starting point for a longer adventure. And I can't forget about the solo rules. Perplexing Ruins did a great job writing up a bunch of procedures to make solo play easy and fun. I'm actually going to link a great solo playthrough written up by Patrick from The Soloist down in the description. If you're interested in solo play Starborg, definitely check it out. It's a great example of how wild these Starborg adventures can get. I hope taking a little look at this game has got you excited to try it out. I'm having so much fun making new classes, enemies, items, and adventures for this game. My brain is just overflowing with ideas, and I can't wait to play with my friends again next month and publish more zines for Starborg. If you'd like to pick up the zines, they're available in my online shop, digital and physical versions. And if you'd like to get the new issue of Subspace Datacron #2, the pilot class, all the new crime lord goons and bounty hunters and space pirates, check out my Patreon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.